What's your reaction, Frank, to the suspension?
I don't think it makes any sense. I think that you, in a situation like this, if you've done something that's egregious enough from the corporate and journalistic point of view, that you're going to be suspended for 6 months without pay. What does that do? And by the way, I've spoken to somebody very familiar with the thinking inside NBC News, and the feeling there is, among a lot of people, they're livid about this too, because what it means is that you twist in the wind for the next 6 months. It doesn't make a clean break of it. It says to the audience that this guy has done something so egregious that he should be suspended for this period of time without pay. This isn't like an NFL quarterback who's done something bad and is fined and goes away and then comes back and plays again after paying his penance for a few months. The business is trusted credibility. So I think it sends a very confusing signal, and one of the reasons, as Brian was talking about, that morale is as low within NBC News right now and confusing the public. NBC's news, the ratings dropped on Friday already, is that you've got these very mixed signals, and a danger that these mixed signals and second and third and fourth shoes that are going to drop could continue for the next several months.
All right. What's your reaction, Sharon?
I don't know that he's necessarily going to be suspended for 6 months. I mean, Frank makes a really good point. But honestly, what it looks like is NBC wants some time to try to figure out what else Brian Williams might have done. If Brian Williams had just, as I initially thought, told a tall tale on David Letterman, I think it would have been absurd for him to be suspended over that. I mean, if he just, people do misremember, and people aren't perfect. If Brian Williams started to buy his own mythology a little bit on a talk show, that's one thing. The real question is, what did he say that might not have been accurate on his news show when he's working as a journalist? That's the concern, and I think that's the part that we are still waiting. There's another shoe to drop in that scenario.
Quickly, Dave.
We're viewing this, I think, too much as inside the media people, right? Yeah. The rest of the public is saying, wait a sec, what about the puppy that he supposedly rescued that he wrote about in USA Today? Yeah. And what about the robbery that he supposedly endured in the 1970s? And what about Katrina? And the bottom line is, you know, we can try to compartmentalize and say, oh, well, it's only things that he said on the NBC Nightly News, but it's more than that. I
want to ask you this, starting with, I'm going to ask everyone. Frank, in 6 months, is Brian Williams in the anchor chair again?
I wouldn't put money on it.
Sharon?
I don't think so.
Brian Stelter?
I don't think so. I think these things have a way of becoming permanent, and Lester Holt is an excellent fill-in.
Do you think that they are, as Dan has been saying, and as many people think, they're temporizing here, buying time to see, number one, how the ratings hold up with Lester Holt and what happens in the interim? Because there was also talk that Savannah Guthrie of the Today Show might be, you know, a replacement, or that Matt Lauer might be a replacement, or that Willie Geist might be a replacement.
One of the bosses over at one of NBC's rivals said to me he thinks they're just buying more time for negotiations with Brian Williams. Where those negotiations lead, you know, we won't know at this moment. But we've got to say, Williams plans on being back, and stranger things have happened in television. This is a medium that that really lives on this kind of strange moments and changes, right?
We are armchair quarterbacking here, of course, but what do you think, Frank? Well, Sharon, what do you think NBC should have done? What would have been the right move, you think?
I think I would have taken him off the air for the time that the investigation lasts and let the facts speak. I mean, that's really what it ought to hang on. And when you have these moments, these media firestorms, I'm so struck by it every time, is that the world explodes. It's like, oh my God, he murdered somebody. That was actually the bit that Jon Stewart did last night when he was kind of sending up how the media is so indignant over Brian Williams' sin when, you know, he was comparing that to the lies that the government told before we went into Iraq and we went to war. So there's the proportionality just is all lost in the moment of the media firestorm.
Always.
So I would have thought that it would have been smart for NBC to take him off the air while they conducted a calm and measured investigation, and then came back to us and said, here's what we think